Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 23, celebrating the LeBron Jameses of the world, most certainly the better basketballer than Michael Jordan, but nonetheless, with the basketball aside, we will be jumping into the Gauntlet today. And this is our first one of the 3-4 patch. This is where Azir has been boosted. He now levels up off of landmarks. Victor now has 0 cost augments. Aphelios has the cheap moon weapons. It's that patch. The Pantheon got nerfed a bit. Gnar got nerfed a bit. That's kind of where we're at. And so if we take a look at like the meta report real quick over on Balco's site, you can certainly see like the Sun Disk is running at about a 23% play rate, not a positive win rate, but tons and tons of people are playing the Sun Disk, and that is what we're going to look to prey on today. And so with the Sun Disk deck, it tends to just kind of like annihilate the slower decks of the format. It's just generating the flip off of the Sun Disk is just basically an auto win. And so if you're playing like a slower deck in the format, you probably can't interact with the landmark as it is. And so the mid-rangey decks and the control decks of the format all just get completely crushed by the Sun Disk. And so it's not a particularly good time to be playing something like Darkness, just because you're going to run into the Sun Disk so frequently. Now, the answer that the format has kind of come across here is with Victor Riven, right? The way that you attack the Sun Disk is you can't attack through their units fast enough, but you can go through them with Overwhelm, you can go around them with Elusive, or you can attack twice with a Rally. And so the deck that is currently doing that the best is going to be this Victor Riven. This was kind of the answer to the Sun Disk, going through with the Riven Sword, going around with Ambush, and then having some burn to kind of sprinkle off at the very end. And then as you look at the meta report here, the Ezreal, Caitlyn, and Aphelios Victor are kind of the next level of things, and that they are quite good against Riven Victor in the various Victor decks. And so the thing that we're going to be trying to pull off today is we are playing a lineup that is not good against Victor Riven. It's a deck that's a lineup that's looking just to pick on the Sun Disk. And I'm not playing Victor Riven itself. I'm not the hugest fan of the deck, and I feel like the meta is starting to adjust and adapt to it. And so I'm just going to go with a big, heavy, overwhelm style lineup for here today. So again, we're going to try, if our opponent shows up with Riven Victor, we're just going to ban it. Otherwise, we'll just ban whatever kind of like slow mid-rangey deck they're trying to play, and then we're going to try and play the Sun Disk every round and have both of our decks beat up on the Sun Disk. And so the first deck we'll be bringing is Akshan Sivir. This is pretty similar to the list we played across the past week. The big problem and change for Demacia-based decks is Sharp Sight caught a nerf. It's a terrible time for Sharp Sight to hit a nerf, given that everyone's out here trying to play Ambush. I think that's part of the reason why Ambush is so popular these days, but I have pulled all of the Sharp Sights out of this deck. I've also pulled out the dude that makes the 4 Demacia. So for the changes with those, we have added in 1 Shield of Durand as a combat trick to replace the Sharp Sight. We've added in a Shaped Stone. We went from 2 to 3. That is just another decent combat trick. And then we've added in the Durand Sculptor. Reasonable early game play, gives our units a bit of longevity, given that there's a ton of burn running around in the format now, whether or not that is Victor and friends playing Mystic Shots, or the decks attempting to beat the Victor decks. A lot of burn-based removal, and of course she dies to it, but if you're able to kind of boost up your mid-rangey plays like the Bright Steel Protector or the Merciless Hunter, it gives you quite a bit of depth. And then as kind of the only, kind of off-key selection we were doing in our older ones, we were playing with 2 copies of the Bruiser, 1 copy of Radiant Guardian, but I feel like it's pretty important these days to be getting Overwhelm, if not for your Sivir, just for another Vicaran Bruiser. And so in addition to the Absolver, I wanted to have these additional ways to generate the lucky finds. And so with the importance of beating up on the Sun Disk and your units having Overwhelm, we went up to the 3 copies of the Bruiser. Deck number 2 we'll be bringing is Darius Gnar. This is a fairly straightforward Darius Gnar list. The kind of odd thing and strange thing that we're doing here is I don't like Gnar. He's fine, like I'm okay with playing 1 copy, but it's just not a good meta for Gnar. We don't really have the time to be dropping Pokesticks and making value plays off of Pokesticks. Like if you're playing against the Sun Disk, they just don't care, right? If you Pokestick a the 3/1 that puts out the landmark, then they just don't care. It's just not worth the effort to generate these value plays, and it's a little bit more challenging to generate the flip on Gnar. Sometimes they'll just throw down an Azir to block with, and you may not be able to get overwhelm attacks in. And so have dropped it down to 1 copy of Gnar, actually coming out here and playing Rune Weavers in his place, just to have a good early game aggressive unit. The Reforges are surprisingly important. Having quick attack on one of our 3/2 units, or to give something +2 attack, are all pretty good deals. And so I'm just a little bit happier with the Rune Weaver in place of Gnar, given that it's just a little bit more aggressive. And otherwise, you'll find this to be a pretty straightforward Gnar Darius list. And then the last one, we're going back to Taliyah Ziggs. This will be kind of our bread and butter deck. This is the deck that we're hoping to get to play every round. This is the same list that we've been playing in the previous weeks. The thing you don't always see coming out of Taliyah Ziggs is the Ancient Preparations. I have been extremely happy playing Ancient Preparations. I'm really surprised that people haven't picked up on how good this predict is, having the landmark on board, having a landmark that's easily replaceable with Taliyah, just something you like to copy with Taliyah. All in all, it's pretty good. The reason I like it is as you get to kind of these late games and you need to find an Absolver or you need to find the Arsenal, you can do so nicely with the Ancient Preparations. But the only difference from our deck in the previous week, I have taken the Sharp Sights out and added into Quicksands. No, it wasn't Sharp Sight in this deck, right? We aren't playing we are playing Demacia here. But whatever, I can't remember what the combat trick was, but we've switched ourselves over to playing Quicksand. It is quite nice. I don't suspect that we'll be like completely able to get away from all of the elusives and the ambushes and everything, and I've been pretty happy to have access to Quicksand. It's a nice, easy trick to save 2 of our units, shut down an elusive attack, shut down an overwhelm attack, just pretty versatile. And so that's it. Those are the 3 we're bringing. Before we jump in, you know what we have to do. We have to go and turn something premium, and today that is going to be the decisive maneuver. I'm surprised we haven't got that one premiumed up yet. Like, I know it's a rare, and it's not something that we always have in our main deck in Expedition, but man, this is most certainly going to bring us some wins today. I'm going to be pretty happy to have access to this. And let's do it. Let's go. Jump on in, play, hit the Gauntlet button, and enter. And so I'm not exactly sure how the Prime Glory stuff works. We have 4. It puts like 4 to be that special place out there, but there's also the counter for it. I thought the additional Prime Glories got you something for if you need to like last chance Gauntlet, or maybe the people that like weren't in Masters but had the most Prime Glories got their way into seasonals or something. I don't remember, but we're going to go ahead and keep on playing them. And so, with this set of cards here, I'm pretty willing to play against the Elise Burn deck. This is the one I'd prefer to be playing the most out of these. I'd feel a little better if we were playing our lineup list from last week, but I think this one is okay. And I know that the Taliyah Lysandra deck gives some fits to like scouts and the like. I'd have to look at the matchup table to see what Taliyah Ziggs is strong against, or Taliyah. Where's it even at in here? It's not one of the top decks in the table. That's fine. I know it had a positive matchup against scouts, and I'm kind of cool with running our overwhelm plus action Sivir strategy into darkness. I think that'll be quite fine. But this might be a bit of a struggle up against the Elise deck. Actually, I think we'll be okay with Darius Gnar. It's got some aspects that aren't great. Like we're playing Legion Rearguard, which can't block. We're playing Tusk Speaker, which is going to do some self-damage, but at the end of the day, I'd be willing to run it out there. But he's making us battle with Darkness first. That's fine. The only real burn to the Darkness deck these days was they did lose out on a point of attack from the cheap Darkness unit, the one that boosts up the attack, or boosts up the damage on your Darknesses, but I don't think it's a game breaker for them. All right, getting that aggro stuff started right from the beginning. Legion Rearguard's out here doing his thing. Twisted Catalyzer was the guy I was trying to remember the name of. We'll put a unit down that can block him. Looks good to me. I'm happy enough to get these Rune Weavers off the board. These Darkness decks tend to play a lot of Vile Feasts, and so losing a unit that dies to Vile Feast is a pretty good deal. More catalyzers. Sure. I'm ready for battle, my dude. He wouldn't have a Vile Feast. If he had one, he would have played it so he could block and kill the rear guard. Alright, get him for 7. Looking pretty strong. Got a good curve going as well. We can drop the Rune Weaver next turn. Maybe we'll pick up a Troll Chant or something and then do the can't block Fallen Reckoner once we get around to turn 5. Get Overwhelm. Keep hoping for that +2 attack to come in and bring the Thunder. So it's a little odd. We drew both of our Rune Weavers and don't have any way to get that third fragment, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. And Gnar. Not quite ready for you. We get in just so much more damage by dropping our other units here. Don't feel like this is worth a quick attack. I'm kind of like envisioning this world where we do get to like pokey stick something with this mana we have built up. Okay, take him to 7. Not bad. Should be able to essentially can't block his entire team on our next turn. Oh, the Battle Fury. Battle Fury though. This guy can block, right? Well, he doesn't have the 5 attack we need to take down the Ixtali. We'll have to try and just Battle Fury through next turn. It's a little scary with the Battle Fury. They can be dropping... they can drop Vengeances on you. But this turn, it's a struggle. Like, we can take down the Ixtali Sentinel with Gnar. Maybe that's the way we go about it. He's going to get to gain 4. We lose the Gnar. We have to Whirling Death in the process, but he only goes up to 11. Like, we have to get this unit off the board. Do get that 1 mana pokey stick in the process. That's kind of nice, but not as awesome as I'd hoped for. Is there a world where we just go for it and we just do the open Battle Fury? We spent the mana, so we can't do it, but I'm not opposed to that kind of thing. Oh, we can. Just make him have the Vengeance. Oh, that's tough. That's close. Because it's like slightly awkward dropping some of these like Risen Reckoner type cards, given that we don't have the mana to play a second unit. Don't even have a second unit in hand. Let's see. Let's draw a Pokey Stick and see what turns up. This will give us an opportunity to like let them play another unit that we can put Can't Block on. Maybe we'd pick up a 2-drop or something. Troll Chant, not exactly what we're looking for, but I think the play still stands. Oh, he did have mana for Darkness. I should have looked that up. I just assumed he couldn't play it. That one's on me. Alright, so I guess we have to spend a Troll Chant. Double check that we don't have that +2 attack fragment in our hand. It's like we don't. Take him to 1. We'll be ready with the Decimate. A little sloppy, but I think we're okay. Should have just gone for the Battle Fury, right? It's so out of character for me to not just go for the Battle Fury. Okay, so this one should be over. On to the next one, see what we can do with the old Taliyah Ziggs. The thing, like coming up with the Taliyah Ziggs, it's like I think about the quicksand and I really hate how it's worded. Like I get some of the idea behind it to make it just not be a hush, not be a silence, but remove your opponent's or remove the unit's positive keywords is such a strange way to have to go about it. I can't remember if you can like highlight the unit and see what's still active, but it's like it doesn't cancel Last Breath, and you do have some times to where positive is subjective. And so not entirely stoked about how that's listed out. Okay, so the Elise, I don't think this is like a fantastic matchup, but it's not like they're like a 70-30 on us or something. It should be pretty close to even. Not a bad collection of cards to start with. Oh, and you might notice we switched back to the Mobalytics tracker. Conan taught us. Conanson, sorry if I don't pronounce it right. He is one of the fellow expeditioners. He makes the old YouTube contents over there as well. Much better at the game than I am as well, and so you can go give him a visit if you'd like. But he made mention we were using the Mastering Runeterra tracker, and it does that thing where you can look at your opponent's previous deck. That's apparently frowned upon, and so I don't think it's something that you're like not allowed to use, but if it's frowned upon, we'll just switch back to Mobalytics. I wish the Mobalytics was a little bit easier on the eyes. It's kind of ugly if you ask me, but it is what it is, All right, so this is where things get a little scary. He's getting quite aggressive on us. We don't have a great hand to stop a lot of it. I think we just want to continue to play on curve. I'm going to add the Vagabond here. Next turn, we'll see if we have the time to add like a Broadwing and a Bright Steel Protector, but we don't have the means to get 2 units down this turn, and so I'm just going to keep our blocker back, see if he opens on us. Open he does. This will take us to 9. Please don't make me play cards. Noxus Blast. Okay. Down to 6. Scary place to be. So next turn, we can like spend 5 mana on units. We could pretty safely play a Merciless Hunter here. Want to hook his smaller unit that we can actually kill with the Merciless Hunter. And then next turn, we'll get a Broadwing and a Bright Steel or something. Probably rather get the Merciless Hunter. Let's do it like this. I'm going to put the Bright Steel onto something. I'm going to put it on the Merciless Hunter. I want to give them an opportunity to play like a good big unit that we can put Vulnerable on and kind of switch up our targets, if we will. Or Varg makes a meal of them. Okay. So, didn't turn out to need the barriers. That's fine. This gets him to 8. If we can survive the next attack, we might be okay. Noxus Blast to 3. Not feeling as good about this now. Pretty easy for him to have a Decimate or something. But if they're going to try and make an Overwhelm play or something, we could definitely Shield of Durand through it. Yep. All right. Off we go. Back against the Darkness. We're a more positive matchup against Darkness. I know that's not a great matchup for us. It just, I'm curious how often the matchup against Spiders just comes down to winning the coin flip and having the odd attack token, or if not necessarily having the odd attack token, but as much as having a turn 1 play. When they're able to just blast in on the first turn with Legion Rearguard and we don't have great answers, it kind of sucks. But okay, though. On to Darkness. This is a pretty reasonable start. Don't suspect we'll get as good of a Fleet Feather tracker as we want on turn 2. Like we're never going to get it to where we play the Protector onto the Fleet Feather. But here, if he does play the Darkness boosting unit, the 2/2 now, we'll have a good hook on it with the Broadwing. Sure. Pokey Stick, much better than Vile Feast. Vile Feast is kind of a pain there. What up, Akshan? You're about to do some stuff. Get a bunch of barriers and a bunch of attacks in. I think this should be a pretty decent Duran sculpture.
Let us take a peek at life beneath the waves.
Say, get those pokey sticks out of here, please. Alright, not a bad curve, just playing all of our mana on units, 100% of it through turn 5. Not that bad. So where do we want to put our barrier? I think we want to put the barrier on the Broadwing, then we'll use the Broadwing to hook. Well, I guess there's two ways to go about it, right? I don't think we worry about him blocking Akshan. I would like to keep Akshan above 2 health, right? He has this 2 health darkness in hand. So I think we'll play the Bright Steel onto the Broadwing. We're going to hook Vhagar with the Broadwing. So if he, he could potentially just block Akshan with Vhagar, put the damage on Akshan, then shoot him with darkness. So I don't quite want that to happen. Right, these blocks are all, like the Conchal will just block onto the Duran Sculptors, not great, but he's getting absolutely nugged this turn. It's done its work, right? It boosted Akshan. It took Treasure Seeker out of the 1 damage ping range. All feels pretty good. Uh-oh, forgot this darkness is going to level up a little bit, but I think we're safe. To spend that 3 mana and take down Akshan. I mean, he's a 2-attack unit at this point, right? It's really not the end of the world if he has a removal spell for Akshan, and that does really limit what he's able to add to the board this turn. Not gonna pick up the strike. We'll just block with our worst unit here. Well, let's block with a protector, right? Because he's gonna probably wants to darkness this turn. He kind of has his pick of the litter and what he wants to kill with darkness. Bile Feast, sure. Okay. Rip Akshan. So how do we want to go about this turn? It's like we want to get maximum damage in, but his blocks are all good on the Bruiser, and so we do have the option to like Concerted Strike with the Bruiser, but that just like doesn't seem very good. I'm gonna play the Waking Sands. I'm gonna play the Petricite Broadwing. The idea here is if he plays the 4/5 Darkness Generating Lifesteal, then we can hook Vhagar, we can hook the Spiderling, and then his only good combat options are going to be our 2 5/5s.
We made it. Yay.
Oof, interesting.
Steady now.
Is that how we go about it? I mean, he's just going to put a blocker in front of the Sandstone Charger, right? So let's put the little damage on our Broadwing.
Just kill me.
Interesting, goes about the other way. Sure. See if we find something cool for you. Spell Shield, that'll work. Not the strongest, but should keep him around for a little bit. And a Concerted Strike, that's pretty powerful. Okay, okay.
You could say I got a life with
Let's see, I don't think the strikes matter with this deck. He doesn't have barriers he can throw down, but we'll strike with the little unit first, just in case some kind of weird barrier turns up. Maybe he's playing Friendship. And we need to get the little barrier before the Bruiser strikes. Playing Friendship. Ugh. Got him. Round 1, mark it for bust. Okay. Victory is ours, just like LeBron. Kansas, and Cleveland. All those times in Miami, those times in Los Angeles. Not this year in Los Angeles, but LeBron, you're the best. All right, on to the next one. Yeah, I'm still scared by that Spiders deck. I don't feel like we want to play against Lysandra Taliyah. That's the turbocharged Thrall deck. Turbo Thralls is what people called it. I just know in like playing Scouts, it was a horrible Scouts matchup, and I never really wanted to play against it. But anyways, no Sun Discs here. Interesting set. I don't feel like it's like the thing with Caitlyn is we do play a bunch of 1 health units, but that's really only like super relevant for Akshan Sivir. Like I think we can let the Caitlyn stick. I'm not sure what they're playing Targon for. The Tom Kench Frostbite deck is kind of whatever. That feels pretty slow to me. I feel like we can handle it fine. And then I'm not sure exactly what is coming out of this LeBlanc deck, but I feel like she's like manageable. It's always weird to me seeing like LeBlanc and Garen. Like one is like ultra hyper aggressive and one is super slow, and it's just kind of like competing ideals. And so at the end of the day, I think we'll let them play this like Targon based Caitlyn deck. I don't think I'm ultimately too scared about what's coming out of it. We'll ban out the Garen LeBlanc. All right, Akshan Sivir taken away. Let's just start with Gnar. Why not? He starts with his leftmost deck. I would like to ideally have our Overwhelms deck with no 1 health units go up against the Caitlyn deck with the flashbang traps. But, oh, got to pick a deck? I did. We're waiting on this guy. Okay. Getting confused. That timer was running down. But no, I think this is fine. I think if he plays his left deck, we'll be a little bit happier here. And that's what we got. Okay, so this stuff's all way too expensive. Let's find us some cheapers. There we go. There's some 1s and some 2s. Our boy Legion Rearguard. God, we missed this guy. I'm so glad he has 2 health again. This is a premier unit, given the premier backing. And man, speaking of premiers, you all noticed, right? You can't premium those new cards. The Rocket Blast, the bad single combat from Shurima. Like those cards can't be turned prismatic. Real, not great plan from Riot. I mean, just tried to give them my money, they wouldn't take it. They said, "Nah, boss, they don't want your money on this one. Keep your cards looking cheap and looking poor." Idiots. They don't know anything. All right, here comes the Caitlyn. Let's go down with the Ruthless Raider. If for whatever reason he does manage to hit a flashbang trap next turn, then we'll just let the Ruthless Raider try and eat it. This would be a pretty cool place to have a troll chant. Oh, all the flashbang traps. Because look at that, calling everything, right? Got the flashbang trap on our tough unit. Got the troll chant for this combat. Bust. Ooh, bust. You're too good at it sometimes. Too good, they say. People calling you the LeBron James of Legends of Runeterra. Okay, so let's just attack. I feel like we can pretty reasonably get a 2-for-1 with this troll chant. And if he doesn't, it's not horrible. If he only blocks with 1 instead of blocking with Caitlyn, I think this is okay just to save the troll chant for a turn or 2 from now. And then we can just add Ruthless Raider to the board here. Maybe that's like a little suspect in that, well, he was tapped out and we just went ahead and attacked. Why didn't we spend the mana when we had it? But I think this is still fine. Keep taking these Caitlyn hits, no big deal. Can't block now. You had your opportunity and I've taken it away from you. Alright, let's get this Darius in. Uh-oh. Oh, we lost a unit. God. Always happens like that. Always. So, I don't want to count on this Darius to get his damage in. They do have that new double stun card coming out of Targon. I think it's like a very real chance that Darius doesn't get to hit, but he's tapped down to 2 mana. I think we're fine. Darius comes in for 5. No matter how else he blocks, we got the lethal. Cool. Well done, squad. Okay, so now we got Taliyah Ziggs coming back up. This deck's really grown on me. I'm a pretty big fan of the Taliyah Ziggs. I think if you're looking for a ladder climber, that the Taliyah Ziggs is a pretty good place to be. This is when I was just playing for funsies earlier in the day, not necessarily trying to practice for content or whatever. You know, just slamming some games because it turns out the game's fun. I was having good success with Taliyah Ziggs, and it's just like it's good against the Sundisk, and then it's not abysmal against Riven. Given that you have the quicksands to kind of make up for some of the bad draws. And so I dig it. I don't dig this draw so much. This has been a pretty weak draw, but otherwise I like the deck. Advanced Intel, absolutely. Yeah, this is tough. It's like I want to get the like Unraveled Earth on the board, so like we can pick on whatever he plays here, but it's like I also don't want to just like play the Endless Devout as a trade and not have anything that it can like, not anything to do with the sarcophagus, and then I also don't want to just like play Ziggs and have him naked out here in the open. Awkward draw. Play it now. Now that Ziggs is safe, try and pick on his future units. Oh, that was a good draw on the Naturalist. Ziggs out here eating traps. I'm sorry, my dude. I'm trying. I try to keep you protected. Ripped the arsenal. And another flashbang. That was a pretty choice intelligence thing, whatever that's called. Man. Okay. Incoming sad noises. Rock Hopper, another perfect draw. Okay, I want to get the sarcophagus down now. We don't have any way to sacrifice it, but it should be good soon. Do we just give up on that idea? Like what? Just let it be? Because, I mean, we can't put the Rock Hopper in front of the Aloof Travelers. I think we just give up on that idea. You have a lot of 1 health bros worried about the incoming flashbangs, but I think he's going to be fine. We're just going to boom next turn. Okay. Here's how the booms start. It's with the minefield. Here comes the Ziggs. He can't attack with the Justice Rider. Now next turn we can we can use the Unleashed Energy, stun his biggest unit, attack with everybody, be in a pretty good spot. Landmark, who's our smallest one? This bro out here. This lady, I should say. Cool. It says we're coming in for 23 if we're using the using the new tool from Riot. Rip him to neg 7. GG. Bad day for Caitlyn. All right. 2-0. The victories are ours. All right, getting in here. I thought this was cool. Like, I moved out here to Kansas City a few years ago, and then my mom just moved out here recently, and she brought a bunch of just like old shit, you know, and just like you have a bunch of stuff in the closet you left at home. I assumed she would just throw it away, but she packed it all up and brought it out here, and this was amongst the things. I don't know if you can get it on there, but it was work Zoom thing. There we go. Oh man, maybe I have to turn off the blur filter. Hang on. I think that's doing it. Yeah, there it is. It was one of these. Well, can we do it this way? Magic Pro Tour. Congratulations on winning a Pro Tour qualifier. And so yeah, that was from back. That was 2005, like ages ago. But it's one of those things I didn't get to go. I've talked about it a few times across the various courses of the videos. It was too tough for me as a college student to put together the money to fly to Hawaii and stay there for like a week. And so, as awesome as it would have been, I didn't get to make it to that one. But yeah, we had one of those. It's been it's been ages ago. Not too many people have done that. People will be like, "Oh, Bust, you didn't play on the Pro Tour. You didn't get the big dollars and wins." But yeah, you know, that's the way life goes sometimes. Don't let people take your little victories away from you. That first time you hit Masters, Bust, I hit Masters every month. Fuck that guy. You know, fuck you, dude. You get your achievements. You get your victories when you hit them. You just hit platinum first time ever. Good on you, my dude. High five it. But yeah, that was a little piece of history in there. And then for those same people that are like, Bust, you don't play control decks. Fuck you, man. we're playing control decks in that one. That one was with a victory via control deck. It was with the Psychotog deck. If you're not familiar with it, in the Lands of Magic, there's a dude Psychotog. It's a one, a blue, and a black, and you can discard a card to give it +1/+1, or you can remove 2 cards in your graveyard to give it +1/+1, and then you would use that in conjunction with Upheaval that returned everyone's permanents to their hand. And so basically what would happen would be the game would stall super late because you're playing a control deck. You would get to like 10, 11, 12 land on the board. You would tap all of your mana, so you would have like 6 mana left over after you cast Upheaval. And then it's like the game just restarts, except you have the land of your choice. You have Psychotog on board, and then you have the mana to actively play counterspells that turn. And so then your opponent's like, cool, okay, I'll play my land, go, and then you just attack them for like 30. Like it was a fun deck, and that was what I got my my Pro Tour, my PTQ victory with. But anyways, back to the thing here. Again, like I'm happy enough to play Darkness. Maybe they'll let Akshan Sivir stand, but I still think this like Overwhelm strategy is pretty good against Darkness. I worry about like Lulus popping up. It's just like the Lulu Yordles and Arms deck is fairly strong against what we're doing, but like when I see Poppy, I don't think that's what they're doing, and I think we can battle that just fine. The worrisome kind of thing here is like, what is this 5 champion Demacia Freylord thing? Like, I want to see it. We're going to play against that. And so, do we want to take out the Darkness or take out the Lulu deck? And I'm going to take out the Lulu deck just to be a little safe. Like, if it's some kind of like challengers based Lulu deck, and there's like weird draws we have to deal with against that. I'm not really amped about that kind of thing. I guess like the truly scary thing with Lulu is getting the free Flame Chompers, but I think we want to battle this 5 champion thing. I think I'm okay with battling against Darkness. He did ban out our Akshan Sivir, which is kind of unfortunate, but I think we'll be okay. I feel you, dog. I like what you're doing there. So let's see. This hand is not acceptable. We'll get rid of everything. A little bit too expensive. Okay. Don't like starting with Captain Farron, but 2 rear guards and a Yeti, something. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's what life's about right there, isn't it? Oh man, I'm feeling pretty good about this. How do we get to these good emotes? Start with that one. You drop your rear guards. Oh my gosh, we're going to drop another one. I'm ready for the second emote. That's kind of lame, dude. That's it. Nailed it. Thanks, Echo. I don't know if this guy approves of our emote game or not, but I thought that was pretty good. Anything is like good. Anything we can play would be acceptable here. Like drawing a Fallen Reckoner or something would have felt pretty painful, but hitting the Tusk Speaker and now being able to drop Yetis is pretty good. Sure. Well, let's take this damage. I feel like he has the option to say, like, the idea in not blocking here is, like, we attack with the Overwhelms, and so if he blocks with the Marksman, then we're going to still get some Overwhelm damage through. It doesn't entirely apply here, because he can throw the Marksman in front of our rear guards to prevent that extra bit of damage, but the rear guards are like lower value units than this Tusk Speaker, and so it's like if he wants to like prevent the damage this turn, we'll make up for it a turn or two from now. Interesting. He blocks our Overwhelms. Just bring in absurd damage through that. Next level bonkers damage, if you will. More Yetis? That's all you need. Rear guards and Yetis. That's what life's all about.
Faster than my arrow? I think not.
So we can drop Rune Weaver. I think that's our play. It's the worrisome card here would be like a Troll Chant. Like if we say, well, say we play Ancient Yeti, we want to put the Yeti in front of Ash, then that lets him take down the unit. But here, I think this is fine. We'll just get the Rune Weaver on board. We get to bank a bunch of mana. We have a decent opportunity to have a completely full board next turn, and then we did actually pick up the +2 attack fragment to potentially punch through damage with one of these rear guards. All right, here come the Overwhelms. GG. Well, not necessarily, I guess. He can, like, brittle steel our Legion rearguard out here, but 3. That would only take him to 1. His blocks are pretty terrible for that, though. Well, we should be able to overwhelm through this. He can put Garrett in front of 5/5, 3/4 in front of 4/3, Ash in front of, say, the rear guard, and then well, he'd want to put Ash in front of Rune Weaver, then Brittle Steel the rear guard. It doesn't look like ultra awesome for us if he does that, but it's kind of a big ask. His blocks aren't lined up here right.
Lead the target.
All right. Darius Gnar taking down another one. No respect. No respect out there for the Battle Fury deck. All right, Taliyah Ziggs coming in. All right, I'm tempted to hang on to Taliyah here, but we're starting with an Ancient Preparation, so I think it'll be okay. Let's hang on to the Ancient Prep and then just search for cheaper cards. Maybe we get to predict into something more appropriate. Looks good. That's annoying.
Now where did I leave that beaker?
Trade. Okay. That's not bad at all. The problematic ones would have been if he had like a +2 cost and pushed our curve up. Did he hit the Rockhopper? So there's like a realistic chance this Rockhopper doesn't get to hook in. It should probably get to hook in. Yeah, they're not playing 3 health units as the 2 mana space. Sure. The Arsenal. You're gonna be choice this game. I can already tell. I did the mathematics on it, as we like to say. Do you think our opponent was named after the Lord of the Rings character Legolas? He's out here shooting arrows at everybody. Oh, +2 cost on Rite of the Arcane's not horrible, but I'm fine with him taking away a point of attack from the Arsenal. As expected.
This'll be a blast.
Alright, Ziggs, let's give him the business. Found something here. This is, I don't know, it feels like we've been, maybe it's just because this game's pacing so slow, but it feels like we should have had something happen a little bit faster. Here, I want the Ziggs to go through unblocked. If he wants to block with Vhagar's going to die, so that's fine. If he wants to play the Darkness onto the Endless Devout, that's pretty good for us as well. And so if, like, we get to say, get the sarcophagus and then sacrifice the sarcophagus to blow up Vhagar next turn, like, that's all a pretty big win. I wonder if this guy's going to play stress defense. No. It's like, that's been one of the answers I've seen a little bit of here these days, in terms of trying to answer all the Victor decks and all the Vi decks trying to go huge, is to use stress defense. I don't think these decks are going to be playing it, though. Alright, rip Ziggs. So do we have the space for all of this? Like, we can't play the Chemist, right? We could play the Ancient Preparations, we can play Taliyah next turn, but if we play the Chemist before we play Taliyah, we're gonna miss out on the landmarks. Unless he starts playing stuff. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, does he ever kill off the sarcophagus? Maybe he does. Or kill off the Endless Devout. Because getting a copy with Taliyah onto that would be much better. I don't think we're gonna, like, get it. Oh my god. Serious? No, it's like, no way. This is like the best possible outcome. Okay. Wow. Alrighty.
Distance means so little when family means so much.
So, I mean, he can, like, generate a darkness. The darkness is probably enough to kill Taliyah, but this is feeling like a pretty decent space. I'm gonna play the Inventive Chemist to hook in on the Conchologist. He still has to add another unit to the board if he doesn't want to get, like, domed by Taliyah, or if he doesn't want to block Taliyah with Vhagar.
Lord Vhagar. Perfection.
Alright. Well, we won't just, like, give them the option, I guess. Let him pick and choose what's best. We'll at least pick for him. I guess you could say let's give him the opportunity to make a misplay, but I think this is fine. Can we play all this turn? It's like, it's awkward with the Arsenal, and that if we want to Arsenal, we can't do the Absolver combo, right? To where you attack with Taliyah, you give Taliyah the Overwhelm. But, oh, I can't feel good, friend. I think we're just going to open next turn. I think we're at lethal. Hit here. We're going to ride of the Arcane down Vhagar. Maybe we don't even take down Vhagar. We just hit the Rekindler. Because Vhagar can't block... Oh, no, not the Mana Gem one. Vhagar can't block our Fearsome units. I mean, it's not going to be super relevant here, but we're going to have like 15 that he just can't deal with. Okay. I think this is fine. Alright, my dude, enjoy. GG. Alright, alright. Make our way to that final battle. It's what those expeditions were all about, making it to that final battle. Almost forgot what it felt like. And they're still passing out expedition tokens. I noticed on the weekly vault this week that the tokens are still coming out. And so they mentioned in the roadmap or the Sunset article or something that they weren't going to continue to put them out there. But it seems like they are now. But okay, so who do we want to deal with here? I'm not entirely sure what Trundle Tryndamere with Noxus is. I don't know what the Noxus piece of that's actually going to be. I'm just going to come out here and ban this Pantheon. I'm not sure how good like these Sea Monsters matchups ever are, but like the way that we set up our previous lineup was that we just banned Pantheon every time, because the Pantheon against Taliyah Ziggs, the Pantheon against Akshan Sivir aren't good matchups. It probably isn't any better for Darius Gnar, and so I imagine if Darius Gnar is a positive matchup, it's just like barely over 50-50, and so we'll let that one go and do battle against the Sea Monsters and then this Trundle thing. And so I worry about Sea Monsters because a lot of that comes down to like how quickly they're able to just like high roll and get big units on the board, but it should be fine. All right, not a terrible start here. Such premium. Many premiums coming in this start. See if he's got like an Omen Hawk on us. That would be a bit abysmal. Trundle Tryndamere with Noxus. I mean, is this going to be like overwhelms? I don't know. I just don't know, I tell you. Well, we get a good Brightsteel Protector hook this turn. I can see an argument for putting the barrier on the Broadwing, but we technically get in more damage this way, especially if he doesn't play a unit. Sure. Alright. Well, we're getting built up quite nicely. He hasn't done anything to stop what we're doing. Broadwing was a great addition here, so we can... well, it's a little unfortunate seeing the Blighted Ravine come down. Do we want to say just like... It's like tempting to just play the Broadwing anyways, but that's probably like too aggressive. Do we want to protect the one we have any? Or would we ever just want to have 2/1/1 power Broadwings? Because we can hype it right back up with the Shield of Durand. I think I'm okay with that. It's a little aggressive, but with this deck playing Blighted Ravines, I have to worry a little bit about just like how slow they are and how good their top end is about to get. We put the point of damage on Trundle here. Then we'll see what we can do in terms of taking him down with single combat. Yeah, regenerate in here. It's like, give me some of that regenerate. I'm going to go for the health. I don't want him just sitting around on 1 health. Then single combat. We'll get to pick up another lucky find. Something good. Spell shield will work. Okay, so I'm a little worried. I mean, he's still in this space to where he can just like add better units to the board than ours. But we do have some good combat tricks. There's the answer to everyone's problems, just dropping Sivir. Okay. Well, we're just gonna have to overbank into that, but it's not the end of the world. So what's she need to flip? 12? 5, 7, 8, 9? It's gonna be tough to do.
Go get a shiny duck.
Can Waking Sands is a potential way to help Sivir flip, but let's see. Let's see what he adds. Well, I guess he doesn't have a ton of stuff in hand if he's just dropping the catalyst to the Aeons there. We lethal this turn. Right, we lucky find Akshan. Avalanche happens. We play Sivir and Waking Sands. I think that's enough. This'll look great on my mantle. This should be 19 that we have coming at him. 20, because we could probably flip the Sivir here.
Nothing's lost. It's just waiting to be found.
Rip. Alright, get out of that mess. Nice. It just felt like right at the edge. It's just like, I don't know, if they're going to drop a... the 8/8 that AoEs for 3 damage or something, you're just going to get aced.
One step closer to a world without villains.
One step closer to a world without villains. Good. And it feels good to beat that deck when they play 3 AoEs on us. I kind of wish we could go back and just ban that one, because that's tough for a lot of our decks to deal with. Wasn't really expecting to see the Blighted Ravine Avalanche ramp deck coming at us with Noxus in it. That's not what you usually see. And then usually Aurelion Soul is your ramp target of choice. All right, well, not a bad collection of cards for the AoE deck. Just if anytime they kill the Endless Devout, we're just gonna super recover from it. In here, Rockhopper.
It's made of sand. I can ride it.
It's a little unfortunate. I wanted our unit to die, but I don't think we can just like let this thing hang out on the board. Sure. Maybe we will get the chance. Maybe he'll just let us slam the Endless Devout into this. We can also like blow up his Blighted Ravines with these Naturalists. It's not ideal, but it is something we can do. Attack. Attack. If you ask them for it, they're supposed to do it. Okay, we'll add Taliyah next turn. I think this is fine to play it a little bit slow since we have all the Naturalists in our hand. We don't have to supercharge out these 5/3s. Got meat bigger than you. What's that supposed to mean, my dude? Sure. Flipped yet? Yeah, you got a little bit of ways to go there, Ziggs.
Keep your eyes on the horizon and your feet on the ground.
Alright, so I don't want to be like too aggressive with this Hexplosive Minefield. I mean, if he's going to be like, here's Tryndamere, I want to be able to just stun it. We're going to be like a little bit short of lethal next turn. How do we feel? Do we change my mind when he adds Trundle? We can like stun it this turn. Taliyah will flip, and then we can stun it next turn. Say like, what if we go into next turn, overwrite the Inventive Chemist, blow up the minefield? I think I dig this. I think this is good.
My journey won't end until I'm through weaving.
So then we still get to hang on to the sarcophaguses without being overly aggressive.
If it was important, they should have built it better.
Right, that should be pretty tough to interact with. I did the mathematics on the toughness, and it's pretty high. You know, it's up there. So the question is, do we want to ace this pillar, or do we just go for damage? And I think I just want to go for damage. He's gonna that'll let him get a hook onto like Taliyah next turn, but we still have Quicksand in hand if we need to give it -4 and take away Overwhelm, or if we need to say shut down Trundle and Tryndamere to take their Overwhelms away. We have options. So I think that's fine. Hit him for 17. So close to lethal. I don't think we can overwrite something for Ziggs though. We have to give this a turn. You know, if he's like Herder, it's a catalyst to the Aeons or something, it's gonna feel pretty bad to be short on lethal. That's what it was. It was Herd and Dird. And the catalyst is what came at us. Oh man, that's the angle I didn't consider, is like, do we now overwrite one of these Desert Naturalists with Ziggs? I think we do. We get in 2 more damage this way. He's going to flip with the first one and then do 2 damage to face with the second one. So, don't have any ways to get this last remaining like Ziggs bomb in. But it's pretty close. There's the Absolver. Nice. Okay. This is going to be like a double avalanche. Bunch of guillotines. Okay. We can recover around this. It's not awesome, but it's not the end of the world. We can add 3 units to the board with the Naturalist and the Chemist. Pick it good. Pick it good. I think we're gonna do it. I think we're gonna Prime Glory this one. I don't want to call the shot too early, but I think we're there. Yes, hit the Ziggs first. Okay.
Little wolves are just as good as big ones.
There is technically a world where he passes before he plays this guillotine and doesn't play the last one. Like, if you have an additional guillotine in your hand to get your opponent to pass with 7 mana, I could certainly see that being a thing. But Probably not something to worry too much about.
History is whatever.
Boom it. Get that lethal right in there. Nice. GG. And so yeah, interesting set of games. Of course, you know, I have kind of like two kind of headlining ideas to call out with this in terms of, you know, what we saw and our intentions and what we played against and everything. Right? We did play under the intention of running into a bunch of the Sundisk deck. On the ladder, the play rate's against like 20-25%. I'm surprised that, you know, we go through 4 matches and 3 decks in each match and see it 0 times. I feel like that's a bit odd, especially since we didn't see any Victor Rivens either. But, I think the idea here is still good. But the kind of like second piece of the idea with this is, still being good when your plan doesn't go right. And so if the Sun Disk is something being played 20% of the time, and then across those 3 decks, then we should have seen it like 2.5 times or something, right? As to where 4 people bringing 3 decks, that's 12 decks. Like 10% would be 1.2, 20% would be 2.5. And so, it's something that you should see frequently. But we didn't see it here. And so the kind of like secondary point with that is, have your decks being good in general and good against, a broad spectrum of the meta as opposed to just one deck. And I think we're kind of okay there. I still, I didn't bring the scouts this week. I've been a big proponent of scouts. I think scouts are in a decent space because we play Stony Suppressor in it, and it turns out Stony Suppressor is really good against the Victor Riven deck. But it's still a deck that I'm not like super interested in playing against, and so that was the kind of like the second piece here. Is I didn't talk about why I didn't bring Scouts. It's because Scouts has some bad matchups against all of these. It's not great against Sundisk. It's not great against Victor Riven, and if you're not good against like the popular decks of the format, then what is your place in this? And so that's why we didn't bring it today. But I think the meta is still shaping up. It tends to be a more of a casual crowd in the Gauntlet. I think if you run your Gauntlet on like Friday in the first hour or something, then you're probably going to play meta decks the whole way. But later in the week, as they kind of have the time to grind on, not ultra surprised that we caught a wide range of off meta decks there. But I think at any rate, if you're playing in a tournament or in the upcoming weeks, once the turd has been polished in the Sundisk, then this kind of idea probably won't be necessary. I was really expecting us to get to play like 6 and 8 games against the Sundisk and just annihilate it every game with with a lineup set to defeat it, but didn't quite pan out today. And so we'll see over the course of our next week of laddering if we want to bring in something different, if we want to swing back to playing the scouts. Nonetheless, like I do still feel really good bringing Akshan, Sivir, Taliyah, Ziggs, and it's this Darius Gnar that's kind of like up in the air. We were bringing it this week because it is good against the Sundisk, but we won every game with it this week, and so there's still something there. This being a quality deck and not being something just to push by the wayside. But, I had fun with this one. I don't have too much more to add on this. We've gotten pretty intimately familiar with this Akshan, Sivir, Taliyah, Ziggs. We've been playing them quite a bit in our Gauntlet lineup, and I think I would continue to do that, even if it was to carry into a tournament or to be in a more competitive-centric environment. I think they're still probably a pretty good take. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. I hope you all enjoyed the trial. We didn't get to polish the turds today, but hope you get to polish a good one here in your upcoming time. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way, had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.